where brevity is paramount.
Hello, welcome to episode 40 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is John Denton. With me is Chet Roivas.
All right.
So there's been 40 of these now. Oh, that's not true, is it? There's been 39 of these now, so you should know the deal. Two top 10 lists going down from 10 to 1 each. The games we've been playing the least at 10, the game we've been playing the most at 1. Let's kick it off with Chet's 10.
Okay, my number 10 is a game called Osmos, which I played on one of these new phones. It's also available on the iPhone for a pound or £1.50 or something, but I played it on... My girlfriend's got one of those ridiculous new phones that's halfway between a pad and a phone.
Oh, like the Note or something?
Yeah, so it's one of those type things. It looks ridiculous when you're holding it up to the side of your head, but for games it's great. And Osmos is just this. It's free on there, but it's as I said, a couple of quid on the iPhone. It's a really, really, really neat little game. I was playing it. I was quite inebriated when I played it, so I can't really remember exactly what you. I know you're in space, and there are these. I thought they were planets. They're kind of organisms that look kind of like germs floating around the screen.
Right.
And you control one of them by sort of tapping it, and that sort of sends it off. And what you've got to do, you have to absorb everything that's smaller than you.
I think this is quite an old game on iOS, isn't it? I'm pretty sure I played this.
It might be, actually. My girlfriend said because she watched Indie Game the movie the other day. Apparently, it was mentioned in there.
Okay.
But yeah, every time you tap, you get smaller, so there's less things you can take over.
Yeah, I have played this. I got it on my iPad when I first got the iPad a while ago.
Yeah, really neat little game.
Yes, good.
It starts very easy, and then it gets incredibly difficult. But that dynamic is just like really. I was really, really impressed. I like the music as well. It all sounds like. It sounds like tunes. Have you ever had the Aphex Twin compilation for the really old stuff? Selected ambient works. That was it.
I only really know the singles.
All right. Well, it owes a debt to that. Really nice, okay. And it looks nice. Plays good. It's very good indeed.
Yeah, I forgot that game even existed.
Well, you should revisit it, boy.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Oh. But it's nice. All good. My number 10 is The Walking Dead on iOS. I went to grab my phone because it's got a subtitle, but I can't remember what it is. But it's something like Aftermath or Assault or some shit. It reported itself as a strategy game, and it made it sound like it was going to be a kind of top-down XCOM style turn-based thing. And I thought that sounds cool, in the Walking Dead universe. But it isn't. It's real time. You just tap Rick. It follows the story of the TV show. You just tap him around collecting loot, and zombies can come in your radius, and if they do, you should automatically shoot them. And to be honest, it's pretty shit. It looks kind of nice. It's done in a comic booky style, but from that kind of top-down / isometric strategy view. But I couldn't really see where there was any strategy. It was more just like doing stuff, but it wasn't particularly interactive, and I got the feeling it was going to start pushing me towards IAPs, which I ain't keen on. And I just gave up on it quite quickly.
So it was free to download, I take it?
I don't think it was. I think it was £1.50. But it made it sound like, when I was reading the thing, it made it sound like it was going to be a Walking Dead XCOM, and I thought, even if it's not that good, I'll try that out for £1.50, but it wasn't that.
It's not that game developed by the people who made Operation Raccoon City, is it?
Oh my God, it might be. I don't know.
No, I think that's called The Walking Bowling Dead. The Bowling Dead? The Bowling Walk... Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I think that's a different game.
It sounds like a bowling game.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds shit.
It wasn't great, no. Maybe I'll try it again. No, I won't.
No,
why did I even say that? Yeah.
Why do you say that? Okay. My number 9 is Sports Connection on the Nintendo Wii U.
All right. I've heard this is really good.
It would be funny if it wasn't so horribly depressing, and I mean like affecting. I mean genuinely. The thought that there is some kids out there, and there is, who've been bought a Wii for Christmas, and this is the game that they've been bought with it. I genuinely, it is offensive, honestly. It's terrible. It's a game from another era, frankly. It's a game where I can't believe that this exists in this day and age. And I'll tell you what it is. I think I'd put money on the fact that 3-4 months ago this was a Wii game, and they just thought, let's fucking make it a Wii U game. Why not? And like I said, you'd find it how bad it was amusing if you knew that people hadn't paid 40 quid, 50 quid for it. You know it's wrong straight away because as soon as you boot the disc up, there's a soundtrack of like kids playing in a park, and there's a screenshot of a park with nothing in it, and it's there for 30 seconds, and I'm like, what's going on? And then elevator music fades in, and then it starts. And then you have to pick an avatar. The avatars they're basically Mii's. But they look worse than Mii's. They look like they were designed 20 years ago and somehow upscaled to fit into They look terrible. Why it doesn't use Mii's, I'll never understand. But anyway, there's 6 games on it. I'll be brief. The first one's tennis. There's loads of razzmatazz, loads of people cheering and stuff. Although the tennis takes place in a park with nobody in it, apart from a guy on a bench. Your only option for playing it, unless you use a Wiimote, is to just flick the touchscreen in the direction you want to hit the ball. Fantastically boring, but to a degree it works. Reasonably inoffensive, so not a bad starting point. The second game I went to was go-karting, which is basically Mario Kart. But you're using the tilt controls on the pad. Again, it's set in a ghost town, so there's nothing around, although there's loads of cheering. But it's just the most monotonous, dull, boring. It's crap. But what makes it doubly crap is that the frame rate is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It's the frame rate is. I played it for 5 minutes. If I'd have played that game for 10 minutes, I'd have a fucking migraine. It's awful. It looks like, honestly, like I said, they've somehow made a Wii game fit onto a Wii U. And it was awful, it was boring, it was dull. It was the Avatar karting for 80 points on the Xbox is better. And then the third one I played was football. And again, football would have been hilarious. It would be something I'd be on here laughing about if, as I said, people hadn't forked out for it. Everything you do on the football pitch, one button. That's it. Right. Tackle, shoot, pass, one button. All of your players, the way the AI of the players, it does have to be seen to be believed. They just run it wherever they want. I mean, regardless of what you're doing. I mean, it's so bad you can't quite believe that it's actually happening. You go for. I mean, there's no point in trying to explain what happened, but just imagine avatars randomly running around like headless chickens, just doing whatever they feel like. Even the keeper does it sometimes. He's just running around the pitch, and it's like
little school kids.
Yeah, it's not. But they're not even trying to get the ball. They're not. There's nothing. It's unspeakably bad. Basically, that's all I can say. I went to look at there's 3 other games. One of them's American football. One of them's something else. One of them's something else. I clicked on each of them, and it said you can't play this with the gamepad. You have to use a Wiimote. And I was like, I'm sorry, game. No, I ain't getting out of my couch for this. Piss off.
What if you didn't have a Wii?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, a lot of Wii U games kind of expect that you do have those things, but. I was just like, I'm not getting up for this. I haven't even made it sound half as bad as it is. It's terrible and depressing, honest to God.
And it's full price.
40 quid. I think it's 50 quid if you download it.
Damn, 50 quid.
It's awful. It's shocking. Absolutely shocking. I'm actually angry about it, and I know I haven't done a brilliant job of explaining what's so terrible about it, but just take my advice and stay the fuck away. It'll be a £5 in about a week.
Yeah. Oh, I feel bad for whoever buys that.
I feel devastated, truly upset. I mean, the poor kid, whoever he is. I hope there's not more than one of them.
At least he's got a Wii U.
But he's got nothing to fucking play on it.
It's true. He's
just going to sit in Miiverse talking to other people about other games. Poor bastard.
Yeah.
Or bitch. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl.
You don't need to. My number 9 is brief session on Call of Duty Black Ops. It seems like all of us lot have got a bit bored of it. Got a bit fed up with the connection problems. Yeah. The hit connection problems and the quick scoping problems. And while I want to like the game a lot, and I have had a lot of fun games on it, I'm finding it way more frustrating than Black Ops 1. And I know you guys who we all play with have got more annoyed than me and have ditched it.
They've all sold it, yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably still play a bit on my own. But did you get the Wii U version? This is what I'm hearing.
Yes, I did. It is fantastic. I'll talk more about it next week because I haven't played it that much. Actually,
Sure.
I'll tell a lie. I've played it quite a bit, but there wasn't room in this.
Multiplayer works in your hand.
Works really great. I've tried it on the screen when I was lying in bed yesterday, and I've tried it on the TV. And the best thing about it is that the community are the people I want to play with. They play COD like I play. Run around like headless chickens.
Yeah.
Again, just running around and shooting. I don't want guys that fit. people on there don't tend to be the kind of people that just play Call of Duty all the time. So there was something really, really refreshing about that. But it's great. On Wii U, if you have a Wii U and you play COD on another machine, get the Wii U version. There's slightly less. There's considerably less people playing it, but I have never failed to get a game, not once.
Yeah, the idea of just playing it on the screen, all self-contained, that is very appealing.
I'm really impressed. I personally, I played a bit of the campaign as well. I could not tell the difference between the Wii U and the 360 visually, not at all. Even online, slick as you like.
That's good. That's good to hear as well.
Yeah.
I am tempted. It's just it was £55 in game, which was obviously I wouldn't get it from there, but that is not inexpensive for a game I already have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do want to play it.
It's Tresbian. Is it me? Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Rabbids Land on the Nintendo Wii U.
Okay. Yeah.
It's fine. I won't say much about it. I quite liked the launch title that came out with the Wii, the Rabbids minigames. That was quite fun.
Oh, that was quite funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. This one has its moments as well. I mean, I haven't played it for very long, but the only annoying thing is basically the minigames are very good and there is a lot of humour, and I did laugh a couple of times, but if Sports Connection was Ubisoft's attempt to be Wii Sports for the Wii U, this is their attempt to do Mario Party. So you can't play minigames straight away. You have to sort of go through this board game scenario.
Oh, okay.
And if you're on single player, it's interminable. It's horrible because you're just constantly... You have to wait. I mean, for minutes at a time while these other imaginary players have their go.
I've done a Mario Party review once and I had no one else to play with it and I had to do that. It wasn't fun.
There's got to be an easier way to sort of accommodate people who are playing it on their own. But then again, it is a party game at the end of the day. But yeah, it seemed pretty good. The games were fun. They utilised the pads and the TV quite well. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah. There seems to be millions of those games, those Rabbids games, since the first one came out. Seems to be one every 6 months. I've never played one apart from the first one.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. But no, this is from what I've played, which is admittedly not a lot. It seemed okay. It seemed all right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Dikembe Mutombo's 4.5 Weeks to Save the World. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's an Old Spice advert.
Oh wait, I have heard about this. Yeah.
It's from the guy that made Cannibal, and it's in 5 episodes. I've only played the first one. Do you know who Dikembe Mutombo is?
I assume it's the actor, isn't it?
It's a basketball player from the 90s.
Oh right.
Massive African guy, like 7 foot tall or something, and he used to wag his finger. He used to like reject people, block the ball, and wag his finger. So the loading cursor is the wagging finger, and it's properly funny. I can't really do it justice by explaining it. You're Dikembe Mutombo, and you have to save the world before the end of the Mayan calendar. And the first way you have to do it in episode 1 is everybody's dancing to Gangnam Style, and they're doing that instead of voting. So you have to go and stop them from dancing to Gangnam Style in order to get them to vote. And you've got a bear in a nice pullover that's telling you have to do this with an English accent. It's properly funny. And then the game itself is this part of the game, I assume it changes, is you use a thing of Old Spice as a jetpack, and you're flying around throwing I don't know what you're throwing at them, maybe like leaflets or something at voters as you're going down, and then like you're going down this volcano, I think, and like cheeseburger restaurants are trying to fall on top of you. It's free. You just Google Old Spice Dikembe Mutombo and you can play it. I think it's going to be 1 episode a week. There's already 3, but I've only played the first one. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It's my kind of humour, just fucking stupid, really stupid. Just the same type of humour as all those Old Spice adverts, all the Terry Crews ones and the original one with a bloke on a horse. Just fucking idiotic humour that really appeals to me.
What kind of iOS?
No, it's on a computer.
Oh, like a browser?
It's a browser game.
Okay, all right, that sounds interesting.
It's really good, mate. It takes like 5 minutes to play the episode, but it's just constant gags. And I'm pretty sure it's actually Dikembe Mutombo doing the voiceover as well, because it's all voiced, which to a 90s basketball fan like me is heaven.
Fair enough. Okay, that sounds really interesting.
It's fucking fun.
How do you spell his name? Have you got any idea?
Dikembe.
That'll do.
Yeah, just type in Old Spice game, save the world. I don't know. It's linked on Eurogamer as well. There was a story on Monday on Eurogamer. Tuesday.
All right, I'll look that up.
Yeah, do. It's fun.
Okay, my number 7 is Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD on the Xbox 360.
Is this with the new levels or just
The new, the DLC pack finally came out this morning.
Oh, did it?
After having been delayed and delayed and delayed.
Yeah.
So now not only have you got the new maps from Tony Hawk 3, you can revert, and you can actually initially it was only going to be on those maps you could revert, but I guess there was some kind of uproar or something because you can now revert across all of the old levels as well. It's made the game a hell of a lot better, but it's still a hatchet job of a game. It's still it wouldn't if we were to have be told that the delay of bringing the DLC out was because only one person was working on it, I would not find that hard to believe. They've somehow made the old levels that Tony Hawk, the new ones. What were they bought? Canada, Airport, and what was the other one?
Is LA? Is it
LA? Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
They've somehow made them look more lo-fi and empty and drab than the original ones.
Yeah.
It feels like they've done the bare minimum of that was possible. Even I'm sure, I can't remember because I only played today, but the Los Angeles level, I'm sure there was people walking around and there was cars.
There was.
Yeah, in this there's nothing. It's just, and nothing's colour. There's no shading. It's just all very basic. I mean, God only knows why it took them so long to do it. But it was nice to see those. Tony Hawk 3 was my game.
Yeah, me too.
That was the one. So skating around in those maps was really fun. But I'd have much rather played the original. It's a hatchet job of a port.
Mm.
So yeah, a big fucking letdown. I was really looking forward to it, and even now with the revert, it's better. It's a hell of a lot better. It's just still not what it should have been.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a shame because all anyone's ever wanted was just those games again.
Yeah. I know.
On the new consoles, and I know they had to kind of rebuild it completely from scratch because of the way the engine works or something, but still,
it just doesn't feel right. It does feel genuinely like a fan's made it or something.
Yeah.
I felt like they've spent no money on it at all. Fucking shame.
Yeah, that is a shame. I'm still kind of tempted to get it just to grind around the airport again, but
it's not good. It's not worth it. I'm telling you.
Don't know how much is it.
It's only 400, and there's a couple of new songs on there, but. It's at least it was only 400. That's all I'll say. It's not worth 400, but at least they didn't try and charge more.
Sure. That's a shame.
Yes.
My number 7 is Clay Jam on the iPhone. I've been following this game for months. It's made by a few guys who I think they used to work at that. Is it Climax or no? Who are the studio that made Split Second? I think they were from that studio. That broke
Black
down.
Rock.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and that they kind of splintered off into lots of different indie studios, and this is one of them. All of those facts might be incorrect, but the fact is that it's made by some guys in Brighton. That's definitely true. And it's an iPhone game where everything has been modelled out of clay, like Clay Fighter, but it's more like Katamari. So you're a little blob of clay, and you have to kind of hoover up little funny monsters that they've made, and then ping your bigger plasticine ball like a weird bearded goat and try and get him as far as possible. And every time you do it, you get more points. You use those points to spend on more weird monsters that will populate a level, and then you go through it again. And it's really addictive. It's really, really lovingly made. It's so nicely made. All the animation, all like it feels all plasticine. You can almost smell that nice plasticine smell. It's also free, and there are in-app purchases, but I was nowhere near needing to use one, so I've just been able to play it happily for free. Really, really fun, really nice iPhone game.
What was it called again?
Clay Jam.
Clay Jam, right? Okay. Yeah. Is it better than Clay Fighter 64?
Yes, it is better than Clay Fighter. Is that 64? Was that 30? Which one was 33 and a third?
No, isn't it 64 and a quarter?
That's right.
64 and 6 quarters?
Something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Great game, though.
Yeah, I don't think I ever played it. I just remember there was a snowman in it.
I remember buying it thinking it'd be funny. It fucking wasn't.
it was like 60 quid or something, wasn't it?
I didn't pay full whack for it, but I paid a score, I think, and I was just like, yeah. As soon as it started, you're like, I'm an idiot.
That rarely works with games, doesn't it?
It does.
Games to be funny.
Yeah. There are exceptions.
Yeah.
Expendables 2 is a great example, although it's painful with it.
Yeah. Definitely works better with movies, that game.
Oh, yeah, always. Okay, that sounds all right.
Yeah, it's fun, especially for free.
Yeah. I'm sure the creators of the game would like it if you spent a few quid on it, though, wouldn't they?
They would, yeah. but their back is I think it's a Zynga game, so they've got backing and things.
All right. Okay, my number 6 is Battlefield 3 Aftermath on the 360.
Okay, yeah, that's on my list, a little higher.
I thought so. I've played it for a few hours already. Well, a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours. We had a session last night. I think, hands down, it's the best of the downloadable content packs for Battlefield 3.
Yes, I agree.
Primarily, I think, because it doesn't really fuck with the formula. Close quarters, that fucks with the formula. Armoured Kill with the gunship and everything, that fuck with the formula. This is Battlefield, some really... the best maps that they've brought out. The maps are so good. And we knew it straight away, but prolonged play, just like, that's so cool. There's just... I can't wait to play it some more. And Scavenger Mode, have you played it much?
That I played very briefly and didn't really get, and I was just like, I'll check this out later. I'm going to do it properly.
Again, it's the same thing. It's not like the 2 modes that you got with... Gun Game was enjoyable. What was the mode that they... Tank Superiority? Did that once, I think.
Yeah. I don't like that.
This is just Battlefield, but you're running around picking guns up. That's it.
Yeah.
It's Conquest with but every gun you pick up's either got one clip or 2 clips worth of ammo in it, so you have to keep picking guns up. I thought it was really good fun. Played it a lot.
Okay, it felt quite throwaway when I played it, but I only had 1 game on it and I didn't really know what was going on, so I was like, we'll go back to that. Just want to check the maps out first. But yeah, like you say, really good maps. The fact that they don't mess with the formula is definitely the right move at this point. Yeah. And just for high quality dice maps, really, that's what you wanted. What made me... Sorry, I'm mumbling. It reminded me that after playing Halo and Call of Duty, as good as they are, going back to Battlefield, it's just kind of on a different level.
Yeah, it is.
The drama and the scale of the action, and when you're fighting over a capture point in Rush, or what do they call MCOMs, you're really fucking dug in and you're defending, and I'm always the medic, so I'm rushing out into the fucking no man's land to rescue a guy and stuff like that. Even with loads of level 100 golds or whatever the hell they're called, these freaks, I can enjoy Battlefield as a slightly lower skilled, less accurate player, because it has the systems in play to let me do that. We've talked about this loads before on older episodes, but if you jump into a game on COD or Halo against players at that level, you're fucked. You can't play, you can't have any fun. Yeah. So it's nice to go back to it, although it's starting to look a little bit janky these days on 360.
Yeah, I suppose so. I've always had a problem if you go from playing COD to Battlefield. It does the 30 frames per second versus 60 it's worlds away. And while I was loading it, I was sitting on my Wii U gamepad playing Call of Duty. But yeah, no, we had a few games yesterday. We were just a buzz. Everyone was just, why did we leave this alone? It's so much more satisfying. And we had a couple of games, 2 games where me and Jay and Nick were playing. And we turned a game round at the last minute just by sheer fucking teamwork. Just by being smart and savvy and using teamwork. And you can do that in things like Call of Duty and to a great extent Halo, but not to the same. I mean, it's just...
No, it's not the same.
It is the gold standard of first-person shooters. If you're playing with friends, especially, although it's not to say anything against Halo because I think that was fantastic. But going back to Battlefield, I'm like, this is what I want. This is the one.
Mm. Yeah, same. I just kind of wish that I could play on PC, but with my pad with everybody on Xbox Live. If that makes any sense, it's just it shouldn't matter that it doesn't look so nice, but I've played a few high-end PC games recently, and then you go back to that and you're like, damn, it is for that sort of game. It is time for something with a bit more power.
Yeah, I don't mind it so much because the games are good, but I do know what you mean.
This isn't a huge problem. It's just when you go, when you've seen something and then you go back, it's not the same as if you'd never seen it in the first place. But really good, and everyone. It's not like you're going to only buy this map pack if you didn't buy any of the others. You either got premium or you haven't by this point, I think. If you're a Battlefield guy,
I don't know. You say that. I played some multiplayer earlier today, and there's loads of rooms that are called premium players. If you come in your band or something, no premium players, and they were full. So there must be people out there, and they were playing. I looked, and some of the maps they were playing were DLC maps, so they must buy the map packs periodically, which is a bit of a mystery.
That's very strange, but who knows? I was wrong. Clearly.
Genuine.
Is it me?
Yes.
Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper on Wii U.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really like Dynasty Warriors games. This is of that genre. These are their, like, the Warriors Orochi series is the sort of less serious take on Dynasty Warriors, where everything comes together and there's more superheroes or something. I don't fucking really get it. I've never liked these games. Some people love them. To me, they're so obviously shit, but I can kind of see there's kind of baseline catharsis and satisfaction to just thwacking enemy, killing 1,000 enemies in 5 minutes, sort of an almost like fruit machine style feedback loop to it. I get that. I do get it. And playing this, I was like, okay, I'm going to really try and see it from the other point of view this time and enjoy it as much as I can. But the port is so fucking terrible on Wii U. If you saw this, and I mean, these games don't look good anyway on 360 or PS3. They've always been sketchy as hell, even since back in the day on PS2. But this is a joke of a port. It's a fucking joke. I can't believe it's just a Rush Cynical job. That's all it is. There's no damnation of the machine or the power to take. It's nothing to do with that. Basically, you know that in these games, the armies will just fade into view, a few feet ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, they will blink. They will just appear in front of you, like inches away from your guy. And in and out the whole time, like fucking strobes. It's just, I mean, if you just showed it in isolation and someone had never seen Dynasty Warriors game before and they didn't know what, and you showed them this after some other Wii U games, after COD or Assassins or Batman or something like that, and you showed them this, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? And so I kind of have to take it like that, because what the hell is this? It's completely unacceptable to have the enemies that you're hitting appear, just fucking flash in and out in front of you. There's no fade, there's no drawing or anything.
Is this definitely only the case on the Wii U one?
Definitely, because I went and checked YouTube videos of the 360 and PS3, and don't get me wrong, they don't look great, but they are the more standard this gen Dynasty Warriors fade in, which is shit too, but that's just the way these games are. This is a crap port. The frame rate's shit house as well. All the edges, the resolution's lower. Real hatchet job, man. They're just not good enough. If you're going to do it, I mean, I wouldn't be a fan of a flawless port of it, to be honest, because of my preference for this style of game. But not good enough. Again, we would be upset for the people that bought this potentially for a Christmas present or whatever with the Wii U, because it's just not fucking good enough. The fact, it does have the cool Wii U thing where you can play it in your hand, but the little, you have to use the mini map quite a lot in these games to know where your objectives are, and it's too small. It's too small on the gamepad to see what you're doing, really. So you need to see it on the big screen. Just bad, just really bad. A bad game done very badly.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think there's been less of those kind of things for launch, because normally console launches is just a wasteland of terrible shit. I mean, I didn't know it was that bad. I'd put £500 on it not being in the same league of terribleness as Sports Connection, but never.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, if you love Dynasty Warriors and you're that girl that loves it and you've enjoyed them all and you enjoy the other Warriors Orochi, you would just be slightly frustrated at the quality of the port, so it would probably knock your mental score down from, say, an 8 or a 7 down to a 6 or a 5.
Oh.
Whereas I started much lower than that, so...
Yipes. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I've always kind of found those games kind of mystifying. I'm like, I always think, do they sell well enough to even bring them out over here?
It's about 25p to make, because the production values on them are shit.
Not create the game, because I know they're quite big in Japan. But I mean the issue of localizing them and then bringing them over, because they never even cracked the top 40, do they?
I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. I know they don't spend a huge amount on marketing them either, and this one doesn't have a English translation. I mean, it does. The text is translated, but there's no localization on the voice work or anything like that.
Yeah.
There are 120 fucking heroes in the game. There's people from Ninja Gaiden. You're fighting big hydras.
People from Ninja Gaiden? Do you just mean the main guy?
No, he's in it, but there's also someone else from Ninja Gaiden, like a woman or something. I didn't get it.
Okay.
People. But if you like these games, you already know what it is. You don't need me telling you about it.
But it's worth it anyway.
Worth it on Wii U all day. Don't get it. If you get it, if you have to get it, don't get it on Wii U.
Okay, my number 5 is Assassin's Creed 3 multiplayer. You you're completely swerving Assassin's Creed 3, right?
It's looking like it. Yeah, I do quite fancy this multiplayer, hearing you and friends talking about it, and I'm sure you're going to sell it to me now even more. But yeah, just finding the time to play a game of that size.
Yeah.
And if I buy it, I want to play the whole game. I don't just want to buy a full price game for multiplayer.
Yeah, of course. It kind of makes me think, why don't they split them? I know Call of Duty was rumoured to be doing it once at some point. They were going to split both games, and you would be able to download the multiplayer component.
I'm sure stuff like that will start happening next gen.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's probably very true. But this is it's I've spoken about it before. On multiplayer, Assassin's Creed 3 is fantastic, and I mean fantastic. Whenever I play it, I just like, if there was any justice in the world, this would be top. This would be beating COD online because it's so much fun. I can't say much more than that. Another one of our friends got it, so we've been playing Wolfpack mode, which is the co-op mode, and it's phenomenally good fun. It's all about finding a different target each, waiting for the right moment, syncing up, ready, and then all killing at the same time.
Oh,
but inevitably, as it gets more difficult and as the levels progress, they get more savvy to you. So one of you will fuck up, and there's a counter going down the whole time. So then we have to go in a frenzied panic trying to clean up someone else's mess.
Okay,
it's brilliant. I mean, Zeno, our friend, is addicted to achievement points, and a lot of the time, I know for a fact he'll try and swerve playing anything where achievements aren't involved. But we just played that over and over and over again the other day because it's like the best multiplayer games. It's like Need for Speed. Most Wanted. It's like Battlefield. It's like Halo. It's funny stuff just happens, and it's an incredibly well made. The amount of effort and time that's gone into the multiplayer is jaw dropping, and the fact that not many people. We did some matchmaking death matches, and it's predominantly very, very highly ranked people, and it was quite hard to get a game. And I'm like, that should not be the way it is, man. It should be rammed with people, and hopefully it will be again after Christmas. But yeah, just fucking great, even without the campaign. Amazing.
Yeah, I do want to try it. I do. I really do. It's tough. So because the other day I was thinking, I could get Assassin's Creed on Wii U. That might be fun just to play it on my hand. And I was like, but then I can't play the multiplayer with everyone. So torn in that way as well.
Yeah, fuck. And by the time it's cheap enough for you to take a punt on it, we'll probably have moved on.
Exactly. Shame. Yeah, real shame.
But it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I'm telling you, it's great. Have that.
Yeah, if it was old school days, I'd do the old 10-day trick on game.
Oh, game. Those were the days.
Those were the days, but then that's probably why they made no money.
Yeah.
My number 5 was Battlefield, which we've pretty much gone over, I think.
Yeah, it's very good. Get it if you haven't already. Okay, my number 4 is Sonic and Sega Racing Transformed on the 360.
I hear this is great.
I'm amazed by how good it is. I was not expecting it at all. I really, really liked the first one.
Yeah.
But it was too easy, and it was just Mario Kart 64 high definition. Very, very entertaining, but kind of throwaway. This, I didn't know this beforehand, but some of the team that worked on this are ex-staffers from Black Rock, funnily enough, who did Split Second. And who did Blur again?
Bizarre,
that's right. They're on there, and you can tell because it's no longer disposable. It is a hardcore, and I mean hardcore racing game. It is unbelievably tough, even on normal, even on easy. At some points, it's unbelievably tough, and I don't think that's a bad thing because it's all to do with the systems. Again, it's you can't play it like you're playing Mario Kart. And have you seen it at all? Because you're not just driving now; you're using boats, and you sort of that's why it's called Transform, because you're planes and boats as well.
I've seen very little of it. I've just seen a few review scores and people praising it on Twitter.
Yeah, it's you're bouncing between all of these vehicles, and sometimes it's just cosmetic. It's just to change things up. And the best level in the game, actually, that's the case, is an afterburner level, where you're flying through the sky and then landing on aircraft carriers and then bouncing down into the water and then up in the sky again. It's just like it's incredible to look at. But other times there's strategy involved because the planes are really fast, the boats are fast, but they're really, really kind of hard to handle. So there are often choices you have to make about which vehicle to get and which route to take. So it's a lot more open than the last one. The levels are great. It's incredibly well designed. There's a very, very involved levelling up system, which is perhaps a little too involved because it's the kind of thing that's for the way I saw it. It looks like it's designed to take as long as like leveling up in Call of Duty,
Right.
which is to say prestiging. You have to do it with every character. It's very, very involved. There's a lot. It belies what it looks like so much. It's not a cartoon kart racer. It is a very, very hardcore racing game, but it is absolutely fantastic. It just feels great. It looks great. And when I wrote my review, I said it's annoying because it looks incredible. It's so busy and so colourful and so hectic, and it captures it without any frame rate issues, no tearing, no nothing. And I'm just like, the developers have really gotten their heads around the current console cycle. They understand that hardware now. So, I mean, even 2 years ago, this would have been eye-popping and you'd swear it was from next-generation hardware, which is annoying because now the rug's pulled from them and they're going to have to start all over again on new hardware, which is really annoying. But it is a jaw-droppingly good-looking game. It's incredible. I mean, I am amazed by how much I think of it because it's that. But then you look at who created it. It's the creme de la creme of racing game developers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm amazed. It's fucking great. And the only thing that's kind of killed it for me is that my friends all bought the last one. No one's bought this one, so shelf life's a bit limited.
Yeah. What are you playing it on?
I was playing it on 360.
360. Yeah. Again, if I was going to get it, I think I'd go down Wii U just to have it on that screen.
Yeah, I hear the Wii U version's very good as well, but it's just. I mean, I was honest to God, I was just completely blown away. I was like, this is like they've shoehorned Blur or something of its ilk into a cartoon kart racer. It's still a kart racer. You're still sort of using the Mario Kart technique of skidding around corners to build your boost up and all that stuff, and it's still eye popping. I mean, Sega do garish like no one else.
Yeah,
it's so loud, and the announcer shouting in your ear. I mean, it's like. You need Ritalin after you've played it just to fucking chill out because it's so obnoxiously loud, and yet it's impossible not to love it, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that seems to be the consensus.
Well, I wish if all my friends had it. It's the problem. There's not enough games for people. There's not enough games. What the fuck am I saying? There's far too many games for people.
Yeah, I was going to say. Way too many. And it's too easy to jump onto the next one.
Exactly, which is what we all do, so there you go. But it launched at a decent price, and it's great. I'm telling you, it's good.
Is it not full price?
Not from I've seen. I've seen it as like launched at 30 or 20.
Oh, wow.
Which would seem right, because Sega is starting to launch games at sort of 20 quid now.
Yeah, I suppose they are. Anarchy Reigns is going to be that price, isn't it, next year?
Good for them.
Yeah, I do want to play that. That seems like a good Christmas game.
Yeah. Well, it depends if you've got Mario or not.
True that. My number 4 is not quite as bright and garish. Is the Walking Dead episode 5.
Oh, you did the final one?
The game. Yeah, I've done, because I was asked to write a review of the whole thing for Games TM, which will be in the next issue, I think. And so I kind of had to smash through the rest of it. I did 4 just before we did the podcast last week, and then finished it just after. Yeah, I mean, have you finished it?
I haven't. No, my girlfriend and I will probably do it this weekend.
Sure. Obviously, I don't want to talk about anything story related for people who haven't finished it. That would suck. Enough people posted stupid shit on Twitter, which annoyed me. I don't know why you feel the need to just write stuff about the end of a 10 to 12 hour story on Twitter the day after it comes out. It's just ignorant. But yes, fantastic, superb. A kind of masterclass in video game storytelling, taking an existing IP, an existing universe, and crafting your own story within it. One that's, in my opinion, as I've said multiple times, superior to the TV show, which has got a far, far higher budget and proper actors and all that sort of business. Yeah, there's stuff that happens in episode 5 which is extremely powerful. I don't even want to go into any more specifics than that, because you'd start letting people potentially see what you could be talking about. So I'll just leave it at that. But it's a less interactive episode. It's a shorter episode than all the rest of them. It is very keen on keeping the pace up, so it doesn't really bother itself with puzzly sections or anything like this. It's more just about moving forward and moving the story forward. And I think the way it ties together all your choices and stuff, it kind of shows itself that maybe all the stuff you were doing was more of an illusion than it could have been, and maybe it is in other games, but it didn't matter because it all serves the story, and your own story feels organic. And Yeah, if only the only bad thing I have to say about The Walking Dead is the slight technical problems that it has. You know, the odd bits of freezing here and there, and the odd little frame rate dips and stuff like that. So hopefully, if they've got a bit more money, if it's done as well as it seems to have done for the next season, they can just tighten it up. So there was a couple of moments where it froze and robbed some of the drama out of the situation. But I mean, the fact that it's that good, I could ignore stuff that in other games would be pretty significant problems. Is again just a testament to how well they've done.
Yeah, really. I mean, it is extraordinarily special. I mean, is it as heavy as people are saying? Because that's kind of putting me off playing it. Not that I'm not ready for it. It's just it seems to be 100% sort of heavy going.
It's heavy. It's definitely heavy. They managed to kind of straddle a line between weighty, nasty stuff and you know, a real amiability in their series. I think that's a real credit to all of them, the writing team and the directors over there. And this maintains that. You know, it is heavy, and like I say, I don't want to talk too much for fear of just talking about the story, because it's so much better if you can just experience it on your own. But it still maintains that. It's not like something as heavy as The Road, or you know, just something as relentlessly bad. It's not that. It still kind of has a bit of amiability, a bit of charisma to it,
right,
like the episodes do. It's definitely part of the same story and the same tonal level as all the rest of the episodes. And just those guys. I mean, the guys that wrote and directed this game are just the two. Well, one of them was from the very beginning of the Idle Thumbs podcast, and the other one joined shortly afterwards. But it's just funny it's just two guys out of three that I listened to a podcast for the last 3 or 4 years, and they just suddenly, having made loads of games before and written games at Telltale, suddenly, you know, it's done something. It's really captured everyone's imagination, and people are talking about it. It's Game of the Year, and it's just, I kind of feel like I know these guys. You know, I listened to like 90 episodes of that podcast. So it just kind of made up for them that they smashed it, because they're such smart, funny guys as well, and you listen to them. So fair play to them.
Yeah, indeed. I'm looking forward to the fourth one, but the fifth one. Sorry, but hearing so much, kind of became, for a few days, it became the thing to do, to post about how affected you were by episode 5, which kind of made me like, I'm just like, it's like signing up to get a slap in the face, and I'll do it, but I don't necessarily want to do it on a Saturday night, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, my number 3 is Batman Arkham City, the Armoured Edition on the Nintendo Wii U. I played it a few months ago, as I said on the podcast, and I was worried about it because I felt that it was they were adding things that didn't add anything. They just subtracted from Arkham City as a game, and I've come around completely 100%. I think it's fantastic.
Really?
I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the best version of the game, because there are technical issues. Although they're restricted to the cutscenes from what I've played, and I've played it pretty extensively over the weekend. There's the frame rate in the cutscenes kind of stutters, but okay. I don't. That's not a deal breaker, especially if it's not in the gameplay. And I haven't experienced that in the gameplay at all. It was also an excuse for me to go through the Harley Quinn's Revenge DLC.
Okay, I've done that.
Yeah, I never did that on the 360. You said it was too short. I didn't think it was too short at all. I thought it was like perfect length.
I think when I bought it as a standalone, it was only about 45 minutes.
45 minutes?
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. It took me all of Saturday to do it. It took me about 5 hours. You can't possibly have done that in 45 minutes. No
Maybe
way.
an hour and a half. Certainly not longer than 2 hours.
Okay, but that's very different for 45 minutes.
It is, but this was a while ago. But okay. I just remember it was just over a bit quickly.
I thought it was the perfect length. I was satisfied by it. I was great, but it may have been the fact that I hadn't played that game for the best part of a year, because that was my favourite game of last year. But playing
it was mine as well.
Yeah, playing it again, I was just like, I forgot how much I love this game and how fucking perfect it is. And I played a section of the campaign. And flicked between the Wii U screen and the TV screen. And as I said, there was problems in the cutscenes, and it was a little bit sort of ever so sketchy occasionally. But during the gameplay, it was just like, I love this game so much. I can't even quite believe it. It's a masterpiece. And I thought the DLC was of the same quality. And I'd never played as Robin before, so that was cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, some of his moves were pretty neat and stuff. I adored it. I adore. I mean, as I said, there were technical issues, but they're very minor. And playing the fucking Harley Quinn's Revenge, I was reminded of how incredible the actress is that does Harley Quinn.
Brilliant.
I was like, she sounds like a completely crazy person. It's an absolutely perfect performance, and it just reminds you of how little voice acting. There's hardly any acting involved in voice acting. It's all bullshit most of the time.
Yeah.
But she created the fucking character just with her voice, and it's incredible. I was blown away by that, and by playing the game again. If you had to pick between another console version and the Wii U version, it depends how much you are bothered by things like stuttering frame rates. And occasionally, in the Harley Quinn DLC, there was one cutscene where if you don't defuse the bombs in time, Commissioner Gordon gets blown from the fire and he lands on his back, and he's like, for some reason, that was rendered so badly, it looked like a Wii cutscene.
Oh, really?
But aside from that, I haven't noticed any problems, and it's just.
I think it was like that in the Xbox one, you know.
That
cutscene. It was particularly shit.
Yeah, it was just that one bit.
I think they might, because it was a download, they might have compressed the video stuff really heavily.
Oh, right.
I've got a feeling, yeah. But honestly, I'll talk more about Wii U games in a minute. But just zapping the stuff to the screen, man. I am the guy that, you know, wants to be able to still be in the living room while the TV's being occupied. I am that guy in the advert. That really does apply to my life, and being able to do that, I've done it already. I'll talk about it in a minute. But I wish Batman was £20.
Yeah.
So then I'd pick it up again and go through it again, primarily just on the little screen. But
yeah, but the things that they've added, if you are playing on the TV, like when I played it at that press event a few months ago, where the attendee kind of made out that I have to move around when I'm scanning for clues. It doesn't work like that. It works like the scanning does in Zombi U, where you can move the thing around, and in that game I have to say it's much more immersive if you do that, and I ended up doing that inadvertently. But you can just use the sticks as well, and that's put an end to the worries that I had about it, which is that it doesn't fuck up the flow of the game at all. There's a really nice, when you start the campaign and you first speak to Alfred, you put he has to scan your fingerprint on the thing, and I was like, that's a nice little fucking touch. Nice. And when you hear the dialogue in the background when you're flying over Gotham, you hear it at first on the screen, and then it comes onto the TV as you approach it. And I'm like, the little touches, stuff that I was really worried about. It works fantastically well, and the mini games that they do on the pads, like the lockpick mini game. Like when you're hacking something, really very difficult, but very good. I think it's a fantastic port, and I did not think that a few months ago when I played it. I'm honestly I'm probably going to go through the game again just on the strength of it.
Yeah, I've had the Xbox copies sitting here to go through it again. I got a bit fed up with the world when I was doing the Riddler challenges because there's so many, and the world's quite small. So I actually ended up getting a little bit fed up with the world, but now I'm definitely ready to go back. But again, hard to justify the expenditure when I have the game. I have it sitting here to go through again when I get time. But
yeah, I mean,
just to zap it to the screen, I just wish I could do that with everything.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So my number 3 is technically not a game, but I wanted to talk about it, and hopefully it'll let me off. It's Miiverse, which I've spent a hell of a lot of time on, like hours and hours and hours since I got the Wii U on Friday. It's the most. I tweeted a tweet which actually got a lot of retweets, which is rare for anything I tweet. I said it's the most relentlessly positive contribution to the world since Sesame Street, and I've been watching some Sesame Street recently, and I'm amazed at how amazing and righteous and nice that is as a product. But anyway, this feels like that. Everything on it, if you don't know what it is, it's like the Wii U's own social network, basically. Every single game has its own community. You go in there and people can leave little notes about it. They can either type them, or they can draw a little picture, or they can scroll out a note in PictoChat style handwriting. Everything on there is just so nice. It's just people enjoying the game, talking about the game, sharing secrets, sharing pictures about the game, or the culture around the game. And the first thing that I drew was a funny picture of Peter Crouch, and I stuck it on the FIFA 13 forum, and I immediately got about 8 years, which are the Miiverse's equivalent of Facebook likes. And then I was addicted. I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to dedicate my life to drawing pictures on Miiverse. And I drew one of Batman sitting on top of a roof looking over Gotham. Gotham needs me, and it's got 28 years. And honestly, that's definitely the best thing that I've done in the last few days. Amazing. It's so nice. A social network that actually feels like it's for gamers rather than Twitter or Facebook bolted onto to a 360 or anything like that. It actually feels like you feel like you're part of a community when you're playing through the Wii U games in a really unusual and really cool Nintendo-y kind of way, and it's kind of just sketchy enough to be amiable as well. And that the way that they seem to be doing things these days, Nintendo, it's not quite slick enough to be cool, but I'd rather it not be cool, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I haven't treated Miiverse as a game, so it's not on my list. But I've spent a hell of a lot of time there as well, and I already even you talking about it just then, I understand what you mean, but I don't think a lot of people, it doesn't translate to them. I don't think
people who haven't used it. People who
haven't used it. I mean, even myself. There's aspects of it that I thought I wouldn't get my head. Basically, the best example I can say is you saw the Nintendo Direct podcast back when, with the kids sitting on the couch and going, "Hey man," it was a really exaggerated cartoonish display, and he sort of went, he got stuck, and he looked on this thing, and I was like, "Yeah, all right, that's very nice, but I'll never use it." I used it the other day. I was playing Zombi U, and I got, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. I got stuck, and I was like, "Fuck!" And I just pressed the Miiverse button, and I said, I said, "I'm stuck here. Can you do this?" And then a couple of minutes later, it flashed up light blue. I tapped the button, and two people. Even me saying that now, it's just like, well, yeah, you can go on the internet and do that. It doesn't. It's impossible to convey the warmth and just that. I would protect that. If I saw anybody say anything negative or spiteful or nasty on the Miiverse, I'd fucking vote. I feel that eager to protect it already because it's so. But again, it's impossible to convey. You just have to experience it.
It is, because you are completely right. Someone would just be, well, you can go on GameFAQs, and of course you can, but I've done it twice now. One, trying to find a secret coin on Mario, which I'll talk about in a minute, and today I'm stuck in a fucking ghost house on Mario, so I've just left a message. I haven't been back to check, but I'm sure someone would have replied, because immediately on the Star Coin one, I got 2 replies from people telling me what to do, and just left them a nice thanks. And I could have looked it up online, but it's different. It's warmer and it's nice and friendly, and you just feel like you're all in it together in a way that the world is rarely like. It's oddly special. And also I like drawing pictures and people being able to see my stupid pictures, so that's very cool. And the standard of some of the pictures on there, because you can follow people like Twitter, you follow up to 1,000 people. Amazing pictures from some of these people. So I just got a feed now of every time I see a good artist, just follow them straight away, and then my feed is just all these amazingly cool game related pictures constantly, which is great. And then you talking rubbish, but
me, I don't talk rubbish.
How to get the lockpick? It was just in the box. Just go to the box.
Yeah, well, I don't think I got to that, but I had got killed twice in the same spot. That's why. But they the most articulate, the most brilliant person in the world, I don't think could convey what is so great about Miiverse. I honestly don't think that, because there's things, almost everything about it, I was cynical about. I was like, what is it? It's other things meshed with other things. It's social media meshed into this stuff that you don't need or don't want and stuff. But I love it so much.
Yeah. Did you read Christian's piece on Eurogamer about it today?
Oh God, is that going to prove me completely wrong? Well, if anyone's going to do
it, the words that you just used, it's like he got as close as you can get, I think.
Oh, I'll read that later on.
You know what he's like, but as close as you can get to conveying it. Probably a lot better than we've just done. But it's. I don't even think I could show it to someone. That's the funny thing. Someone came round, and I'd be like, "Look at this," and they'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Just show me the games. I don't want to see this."
Yeah, that's why. Because again, that Nintendo broadcast was very explicit. It's like the console can do this, and you can interact with it this way. And I was just like, I'm never ever going to do that.
I mentally switched off when they were talking about that.
Yeah. But now the other beauty of it is that you can just switch on the pad and have a look at Miiverse quickly, and then turn it back off without switching off what you do on the TV.
Yeah.
God, yeah. I mean, I haven't. It's not a slot on my top 10, but if it was, it would be number 1, because it's just moving around there and seeing what people are saying and doing. It's just, I love it. I love it.
Me too. Very, very cool. So I know it wasn't a game, but I wanted to talk about it, so I thought it warranted it.
Fair enough. That was your number 3?
3, yeah.
Well, our number 2s and our number 1s are probably the same.
Probably.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Mario.
My number 2 is Mario. So our number 2, okay, right. So our number 2 is Mario. What go on with Mario?
It's just awesome. I didn't realise that it was Super Mario World with the proper overworld map until you said last week, and that's what I've been wanting since I was a kid. Super Mario World is my, as I said last week. Did I say this last week? I think I did. If I had to write a list, that would be number one. If I had to, there's other games that I like as much probably, but they've just captured that, put it in HD, put it so you can zap it into your hand, which I've banged on about this episode, but that is so it's having the most powerful handheld in the world in your hand with a massive screen, and then you can zap it back to the TV in fucking gleaming 720p. And yeah, I can talk about the design. It's like the design of the level seems sort of up there with the best Mario stuff from back in the day, which I've only played the DS Mario Brothers, which felt more like a cool kind of kitsch, knowing look back almost. It's not quite the word I'm looking for, but whereas this feels like legitimately, a game for its own sake, not a game that's looking backwards. It's just, it feels like a world-class launch title.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it.
I'm loving it too. I mean, I just... It's a shame that people have misconceptions about 2D Mario and like, it's old hat, it's been done, it's blah, but like... At first I was like, this is good, it's fun. I did some co-op with my girlfriend and we did the God mode, or what's it called? Where you can create bricks on the screen and then...
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, that was quite fun. I think, again, that's something that's built for if you've got 3 or 4 people in the room rather than just 2 of you.
Yeah.
But the point where I realised it was on the second world. It was only the second world, Layer Cake Desert, I think it was. The final castle of that level. I died 20 times on the bounce. Death. And I never got frustrated. And if ever there's a sign of a great game, that's it. Because it's you fucking up. Yeah. Everything's so perfectly designed. You know what you've got to do. The controls are perfect. Do it, you dick.
Yeah.
I died.
I mean, I get furious and always have done, but it's at Mario. But it's not actually at Mario. It's the Mario that's the projection of everything that's wrong with me as a person. I always see it's like the idiotic side of my personality that would wear a red hat and dungarees and run around like a fucking twat. That's why I get angry at Mario.
Do you actually get angry?
I mean, I hate him, I don't really hate him, and I don't hate the designers, or I don't get fucked off with the game. It's all just being angry at me. It's like an angry internet commenter or something. They're angry, but if they actually thought about it, they just hate their own life, and that's me. I just hate that side of my personality. That fucking, why did I jump? Why for the 9th time in a row I've jumped on the little ice platform that I know that.
But that's what I mean.
It's on my head. I know it does. I've died there 8 times and I've done it again. Why did I do that? Why did you do that, Mario?
I never get. This is brilliant platforming games or brilliant games in general. That's always, to me, that is the gold standard of games. Is if you don't get pissed off, because I get pissed off at fucking everything.
Yes, you do.
I lose my rag at the fucking drop of a hat, and I really get furious. It's not hard to make me angry. But this was like a few months ago. What did I play? Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii, and I just kept on. I was like, I was just like, because there's no way that was anyone's fault but your own, and that means that the game is essentially perfect. So you can't argue with that. There's, I don't know if you've got to it. There's a level. One of the ferociously difficult. That's another thing. This is the hardest Mario game since back in the day, by a long way. It's fucking hard. Obviously, I was dying 20 times on level 2, but there's a map where it's Ghost. It's one of the Ghost castles, the halfway point castles, and it is so unbelievably difficult that you barely get through it by the skin of your teeth. And at the end, at the final door, there's just a ghost sat there.
Yes, I know which one you mean. Yeah.
I ran to it. Dead, you idiot. I got through it. I'm like, I got through it, ran to the ghost. I'm like, you fucking spanner. I can't believe I'm that stupid. But that's, again, it's impossible to begrudge a game that's as clever and well designed.
I'm never begrudging the game. It's the projection of my own stupidity that is this funny little man in dungarees, and has been that projection of my stupidity since I was a young chap.
But that's a shame, because that takes something away from it. If I got angry at it, it would detract from my experience.
I'm not getting angry at it. I honestly, I'm not. It's a completely unique experience that I only have with Mario games. I get angry at other games like you do, as everyone does, truck controllers, whatnot. But it's a very specific type of anger, and it is always aimed at myself.
Okay, fair enough. But
I just hate myself for making stupid decisions constantly.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it. I mean, you jump and you're like, split second later, but you know as soon as you've done it.
Yeah.
That's why I can't get annoyed. I'm like, look at this dickhead holding this pad, doing the stupidest thing that's ever happened and ruining the greatest gaming experience of all time. Idiot. I love it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, a lot better than... I haven't played the second DS one. I haven't played the old Wii one.
It's very good.
This feels special in a way that I'm assured that those don't.
It's superior to the last 3DS one, and it pisses on the Wii one.
Right.
That was a party game. They've scaled it back, and this is now... It works regardless of how many people are playing. And loads of secrets as well. That was what I liked about the last 3DS one. There's secrets galore.
Yeah. I love secrets.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of being... I can't remember how old I was, sat there doing all 96 levels of Super Mario World. You know, when that was actually like a really difficult thing that not many people did.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me almost entirely of doing that. And then you can snap it into your hand.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's special. It's fucking special.
Yes. So number ones are the same game as well, right?
Yes. Zombi U.
Zombi U.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
All right. I like the look of it pretty much straight away when they first started showing it properly. When they very first started showing the trailer, I think the teaser trailer, I just thought this was going to be more launch kind of throwaway trash, just getting out there. And then as I started seeing the gameplay and things like that, I was like, oh no, this looks really interesting. And it is playing it like it's got some really low review scores in some places, and I find that baffling. Sometimes you can play a game and some people don't like it, some people love it, and you can see why. You can see why I might like it, but you totally understand why others don't. But this is just, I can't understand how anybody could not be completely enraptured by something this tense.
Yeah, same here.
People said it looks bad. I think it looks fucking awesome.
It does look good.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I mean, yeah, there might not be the same amount of like detail or stuff going on screen as some games, but it, like, if you just look at it, the lighting, the quality of the texture, the atmosphere, amazing, and fucking terrifying. I mean, I was playing it on my own in the dark, and it's so tense, unbelievably tense, scary. Almost every zombie encounter I had, I was fully tense. My body was fully tense, just wanting the fucking thing to die. The fact that they've taken the essence of Dark Souls in many ways, with the way that your character dies, and you restart with another character and have to go and find them in the world and get your loot back, and it's kind of like permanent death for that character, and you can be killed very quickly. It's not as hard as Dark Souls at all, but it carries an element of that to it, a kind of real, genuinely hardcore, almost post-hardcore, for want of a less annoying and wanky phrase that seems to be coming along these days. There's that kind of element to it as well, but it's just a really fucking cool zombie game.
Yeah, it's a fun... I mean, my reaction to it was really funny because it's hard to describe what I love so much about it, because it's almost like there's a veil over the systems, so you have to investigate a little bit, or I did. There's things where I was like, am I supposed to do that? Oh, right, okay. So I had to discover everything for myself in ways that I'm not used to doing in it.
Yeah, definitely.
And just... Yeah, I love... I mean, it is phenomenal that Ubisoft have taken one of the fundamental problems that a lot of people have had with this machine, which is you can't look at both screens at the same time, and you milked it for all of the tension and the suspense that they can possibly get out of it. There's been so many... I mean, I'm not somebody... I don't jump at a lot of stuff. I don't get scared. But I shouted, son of a bitch, so loud at 2 o'clock this morning. I must have woken somebody up. Have you got to Buckingham Palace?
Yes.
The fact that they... This is another thing. It must be so tempting if you're making a game like this to just... we'll throw in a scare there, we'll throw in a scare... I mean, I think even the great horror games do it. Where you're like, cheap scare, cheap scare. The first time, which was about 4 hours in, when I really properly... Son of a bitch! I shouted. Honest to God. Did you say you were Buckingham Palace?
Yes, I am, yeah.
You've probably seen the bit, but I won't say anything about it because I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, it's just, aside from all that stuff, the systems work. It grips. It properly grips. Every time I've played it, regardless of how much time I've had to play it, I've played it until the battery light on my Wii U gamepad was blipping at me to recharge it, because it's. I like the way that it's linear, but kind of not linear.
Mm-hmm.
There are linear paths through it, and there are bits where it opens out, but it's kind of a sort of a mixture of the two. And like a great horror film, it manages those moments, those scares, those sort of set pieces very cleverly. And yeah, I think very highly of it, very highly indeed. And I knew I was going to like it, but it's impressive. It's almost as if Ubisoft have had this console hardware for a lot longer than they have, because it feels like a game that's come around in the second wave of.
Definitely does. Yeah, it feels really confident and accomplished, and someone just nailed that idea early on. Must have been the idea of having your inventory in your hand and not being able to look at the screen, but it's still being real time on the screen. So you can be in situations where you're having to look down and loot something, but you can hear zombies potentially, and they might be there, they might not be there. Really, if you break it down, a quite simple device for scaring people, but one that nobody else had thought of at this point.
Yeah.
And they really smashed it.
They did. I mean, there's the whole process of playing it is tense anyway. But with regards to scares, there's a couple of good bits. But then there's smart moments. There's a bit where you happen upon a gun turret, and I'm like, okay, here's an area with a gun turret. That's going to get used in 2 minutes. They send you on this little thing in the area, to the extent where I completely forgot that gun turret was there, or that I knew that I was going to use it, or all manner of stuff. And then so it happened. I was like, oh fuck, I've got to get on the gun turret.
Yeah.
When in reality, that was going to happen the whole fucking time. They just were clever and smart and sort of savvy enough to make me forget even that was an option. But yeah, it is like, it doesn't feel like a launch game at all. It's like they must have really, really looked at what the hardware could do, and it's phenomenally good. It really is. It should be a killer app. I'm surprised. I know people are excited about it, and a lot of people are talking about it, but if you think that it doesn't look next gen-y enough, or it's not quite the jump that you hope for, it's. And it couldn't exist on any other machine. That's the beauty of it.
That is the beauty of it.
Absolutely
it definitely couldn't. It does feel genuinely new.
Yeah.
Which is, considering it's a zombie game, is quite something.
Yeah, really. And there's tiny details as well. You don't have to turn around to shut doors behind you.
Yes.
I was like, that's brilliant. You always have to, I've got to do 3 to the turn, shut the door, and you can just fucking hammer it away from the zombies. Wha-pack, and then sort of bar the door. So it's like, it's smart as fuck and incredibly enjoyable, and I
mean, I think I'm past Buckingham Palace now, so a decent way into the game. And I keep waiting for it to fall apart. And there was one point where I was like, okay, I'm not finding it as scary now. I actually read an article on Kotaku of a guy that had done the survivor mode where you only get one life, and he gave some tips, and it kind of broke down the systems a little bit. And so I started to peek through the curtain as I was playing, and I was like, damn, I shouldn't have read that. Half an hour later, I was in hell again. I was in absolute hell. So it didn't matter. It still got me.
Yeah, so I haven't read anything like that. And there's things in my inventory which I'm saving for when shit gets really panicked. And I haven't even used a flare yet, so I don't even know whether that distracts them or whether it. I still don't know.
It does. Yeah.
Hand grenades, and it's cool. I smashed the shit out of you outside my safe house the other day, and then
likewise.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
That's from Dark Souls, isn't it?
Although in Dark Souls it's like a deliberate. You choose to actually invade someone's game, whereas this, I think, is just it's passive. If your guy dies, you start as a new character, but I think that they can then lurk in other people's worlds as well that you have on your friends list. Although I've had people in my game that aren't on my friends list, which is weird. I guess they're friends of friends.
Oh, actually, I've had that as well. Yeah. But yeah, it's smart as hell. There's although it's not the most visually sumptuous game in the world, the way they use it, the way the lens of the camera is sort of dirty, and you're looking through this dirty lens, and it's the way they handled it when you walk out for the first time into that rainstorm. Yeah, rather than hold your hand up or something, they just kind of blur the edges so your visibility is diminished. And I'm like, that's just fucking Ubisoft. This is Ubisoft's year with this. Yeah. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, even though I haven't played it yet, I know.
Yes, you do, and you're right.
They're just so on point, and they're taking risks, and they're doing.
It was at that point where you walk out into the rainstorm, and it was like the best rainstorm ever in a game, and I was like, how is this getting low scores? Like, maybe it gets shit, but what, how can this be getting below 5 anywhere?
But even the combat of having to time and make sure that you don't lunge in without a fully sort of. It's a very complicated. Actually, it's not complicated at all. But there's a certain amount of time that it takes for you to pull your base when you're doing melee combat, to pull your cricket bat back and then whack it forward. So you have to learn when they're going to strike and when you have to strike before they get to you and all that stuff. And being overrun, it's not like you run in and oh shit, you're overrun by 100 zombies. You can be so confident that you're going to live. One more zombie can turn up and you're dead.
Yeah.
If you're not smart about how you deal with it. Man, it's a fucking cracking game.
Yeah, awesome game. That and Mario are my 2 launch games that I have for the machine, and I just feel I'm over the moon with this machine so far.
Yeah,
I'm so impressed. Seriously, if you're on the fence and you're in a situation where you can get a Wii U, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, really.
Cool.
Yeah, well, okay, that's it. That's it for us. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to do one more show next week, and then the week after that, there's going to be me and John are going to do our top 10 games of the year, and then we'll be back at some point in January. But yeah, thanks very much for listening. As usual, check out all the other stuff that we talk about: the Facebook, the Twitter, the iTunes, bloody bar, and yeah, hopefully see you next week. And buy a Wii U if you can afford it.
Yeah, or if you can find one. And you should be able to, so there's still plenty out there. But yeah, get involved.
Genuine. Check you later.
Later.
Whoa, oh no, zombies are after me. Oh, you won't think I'm so tasty after this bullet sandwich. Oh, okay. All right, zombie boss, you're going down. Let's see you try breaking down this door. Oh, why did I think that would work? I'm out of bullets. My bear trap is useless. My pushes are ineffectual. No. Oh, man, he got me again. If I don't beat this zombie boss, I'm gonna end up talking to myself like a crazy person.
Horribly depressing, and I mean affecting. I mean, genuinely, the thought that there is some kids out there, and there is, who've been bought a Wii for Christmas, and this is the game that they've been bought with it. I genuinely, it is offensive, honestly. It's terrible. It's a game from another era, frankly. It's a game where I can't believe that this exists in this day and age. And I'll tell you what it is. I think I'd put money on the fact that 3-4 months ago this was a Wii game, and they just thought, let's fucking make it a Wii U game. Why not? And like I said, you'd find it how bad it was amusing if you knew that people hadn't paid 40 quid, 50 quid for it. It's wrong straight away, because as soon as you boot the disc up, there's a soundtrack of like kids playing in a park, and there's a screenshot of a park with nothing in it, and it's there for 30 seconds, and I'm like, what's going on? And then elevator music fades in, and then it starts. And then you have to pick an avatar. The avatars they're basically Mii's. But they look worse than Mii's. They look like they were designed 20 years ago and somehow upscaled to fit into They look terrible. Why it doesn't use Mii's, I'll never understand. But anyway, there's 6 games on it. I'll be brief. Mm-hmm. First one's tennis. There's loads of razzmatazz, loads of people cheering and stuff, although the tennis takes place in a park with nobody in it apart from a guy on a bench. Your only option for playing it...
It follows the story of the TV show. You just tap him around collecting loot, and zombies can come in your radius, and if they do, you should automatically shoot them. And to be honest, it's pretty shit. It looks kind of nice. It's done in a comic booky style, but from that kind of top-down / isometric strategy view, but I couldn't really see where there was any strategy. It was more just like doing stuff, but it wasn't particularly interactive, and I got the feeling it was going to start pushing me towards IAPs, which I ain't keen on. And I just gave up on it quite quickly.
So it was free to download, I take it?
I don't think it was. I think it was £1.50. But it made it sound like, when I was reading the thing, it made it sound like it was going to be a Walking Dead XCOM. And I thought, even if it's not that good, I'll try that out for £1.50. But it wasn't that.
It's not that game developed by the people who made Operation Raccoon City, is it?
Oh my God, it might be. I don't know.
No, I think that's called The Walking Bowling Dead. The Bowling Dead? The Bowling Walk? Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I think that's a different game.
It sounds like a bowling game.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds shit.
It wasn't great, no. Maybe I'll try it again. No, I won't.
No.
Why did I even say that? Yeah.
Why do you say that? Okay. My number 9 is Sports Connection on the Nintendo Wii U.
All right. I've heard this is really good.
It would be funny if it wasn't so
where brevity is paramount.
Hello, welcome to episode 40 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name's John Denton. With me is Chet Roivas.
All right.
So there's been 40 of these now. Oh, that's not true, is it? There's been 39 of these now, so you should know the deal. 2 top 10 lists going down from 10 to 1 each. The games we've been playing the least at 10, the game we've been playing the most at 1. Let's kick it off with Chet's 10.
Okay, my number 10 is a game called Osmos, which I played on one of these new phones. It's also available on the iPhone for a pound or £1.50 or something, but I played it on... My girlfriend's got one of those ridiculous new phones that's halfway between a pad and a phone.
Oh, like the Note or something?
Yeah, so it's one of those type things. It looks ridiculous when you're holding it up to the side of your head, but for games it's great. And Osmos is just this. It's free on there, but it's as I said, a couple of quid on the iPhone. It's a really, really, really neat little game. I was playing it. I was quite inebriated when I played it, so I can't really remember exactly what. I know you're in space, and there are these. I thought they were planets. They're kind of organisms that look kind of like germs floating. Unless you use a Wiimote, is to just flick the touchscreen in the direction you want to hit the ball. Fantastically boring, but to a degree, it works. Reasonably inoffensive, so not a bad starting point. The second game I went to was go-karting, which is basically Mario Kart, but you're using the tilt controls on the pad. Again, it's set in a ghost town, so there's nothing around, although there's loads of cheering, but it's just the most monotonous, dull, boring... It's crap, but what makes it doubly crap is that the frame rate is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It's the frame rate is. I played it for 5 minutes. If I'd have played that game for 10 minutes, I'd have a fucking migraine. It's awful. It looks like, honestly, like I said, they've somehow made a Wii game fit onto a Wii U. And it was awful. It was boring. It was dull. It was the Avatar karting for 80 points on the Xbox is better. And then the third one I played was football. And again, football would have been hilarious. It would be something I'd be on here laughing about if, as I said, people hadn't forked out for it. Everything you do on the football pitch, one button. That's it. Right. Tackle, shoot, pass, one button. All of your players, the way the AI of the players, it does have to be seen to be believed. They just run it wherever they want. I mean, regardless of what you're doing. I mean, it's so bad you can't quite believe that it's actually happening on the screen. Right. And you control one of them by sort of tapping it, and that sort of sends it off. And what you've got to do, you have to absorb everything that's smaller than you.
I think this is quite an old game on iOS, isn't it? I'm pretty sure I played this.
It might be, actually. My girlfriend said because she watched Indie Game the movie the other day. Apparently, it was mentioned in there.
Okay.
But yeah, every time you tap, you get smaller, so there's less things you can take over.
Yeah, I have played this. I got it on my iPad when I first got the iPad a while ago.
Yeah, really neat little game.
Yes, good. It
starts very easy, and then it gets incredibly difficult. But that dynamic is just like really. I was really, really impressed. I like the music as well. It all sounds like. It sounds like tunes. Have you ever had the Aphex Twin compilation for the really old stuff? Selected ambient works. That was it.
I only really know the singles.
All right. Well, it owes a debt to that. Really nice, and it looks nice. Plays good. It's very good indeed.
Yeah, I forgot that game even existed.
Well, you should revisit it, boy.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that, but it's nice. All good. My number 10 is The Walking Dead on iOS. I went to grab my phone because it's got a subtitle, but I can't remember what it is. But it's something like Aftermath or Assault or some shit. It reported itself as a strategy game, and it made it sound like it was going to be a kind of top-down XCOM-style turn-based thing. And I thought that sounds cool, in the Walking Dead universe. But it isn't. It's real-time. You just tap